Yes. Now, I spoke of a little bit ago the moment where we're doing this kind of practice where clear awareness, which is essentially wisdom mind, the ultimate wisdom mind, clear awareness, is seeing the conventional mind of habituation, which is where all of our confusion is elaborating into this or that structure or pattern of behavior and so on. And this is where our troubled mind and emotions and body and relationships and actions and in the world are. I was just informed that you probably can't hear me because the microphone was not in my mouth, basically. So the troubled relationships elaborate from the self-grasping notion and its interplay with conditions ripe for being obfuscated and manipulated and further tortured into patterns of behavior and speech and further patterns of mind that continue to trouble the waters of our consciousness, which untroubled settled into the clear, spacious, unmoving ocean of pure mind. So I spoke of this earlier as being a meeting point, and I would speak of it now, perhaps using the same word, at the intersection of relative and absolute is when this clear awareness, wisdom mind is seeing conditioned mind, and conditioned mind is able to recognize clear awareness. Let me say that again. The one is looking at duality, and duality is able to recognize the one. Conditioned mind can recognize the moment in which unconditioned mind is seeing. And there the two are one. Because what is false has no place to stand. When what is true meets it, it dissolves into what is true. It happens in the phenomenon of wave on water, in the phenomenon of thought dissolving into its own true nature, meaning mind itself. And this is, as I said a little bit ago, the basis of practice. And once one has a moment of that recognition, very direct, very clear, then from then on the work is to just really stabilize that so that one can continue to rest in that clear mind, clear awareness practice. We're going to do more tomorrow. For now, I want to speak to this intersection and the moment of awareness, recognizing the conditioning. In other words, the moment of absolute clarity, recognizing the dynamics of confusion in our mind stream. This is the moment at which we're at choice. At choice means, oh, I see. Now I can choose responsibly. I can discern false and true. I can discern good and harmful. I can discern love from grasping. I can discern wisdom from confusion. Therefore, I can choose. I can discern the pattern of activity that we call habituation. I can discern these patterns in my mind. Therefore, I can choose whether to replicate and continue them, or I can choose to try something different, refraining from what is causing harm and making a space for the good naturally to arise. Being at choice means having the capacity to take responsibility for one's own mind. Until you can see your own mind, you really have a hard time taking responsibility for it reliably on an ongoing basis, because you're then relying on external criteria like lists of do's and don'ts or virtues and non-virtues, which are extremely helpful. That's antidotal medicine that provides antidotes to habituated behavior that's unconsciously perpetuated. But much more powerful is the moment of clear awareness that discerns naturally and without effort what is moving in the mind and chooses to allow it to continue to elaborate or to allow it to dissolve, as it will if you don't grab hold of it or push it away or make up a story about it. The moment, therefore, that we're at choice and therefore able to take responsibility for the condition of our own mind and what comes from that, is the moment at which we actively engage the prospect of making the kind of wise choice that we have been speaking of early today as the wise choice that is being called for from the elements of life on planet Earth, calling for the minds of humans to change and to give proper direction for harmony and balance and goodness, wholesome life of planetary beings and of the planet herself. Wholesome life, not rapacity and greed, tearing down the very foundations of life, not dominance of individuals over other individuals or peoples over other peoples, not dominance even of one species over another. There's no need for it. It's not necessary. When the mind is in the right place, when the mind is following in the natural order of thought and leading to the natural order of behavior that chooses the good for all, there's no necessity for this kind of rapacity and domination that causes such great suffering for beings of all species, really. The domination of animals who dominate in order to survive is quite different from the domination of humans who dominate in order to have power over and to assuage their fear. Those two are not the same kind of domination. One arises from fear and hatred, the other one arises from the natural need to eat food. I'm oversimplifying, of course, but that's okay. For this moment, let's oversimplify rather than overcomplexify. Cultivating clear awareness that can see what's arising in the mind and whether it has its roots in self-grasping or in care and fellow feeling and concern and compassion for others, or perhaps even for all. Cultivating clear awareness allows us to see that moment. We have eons of self-grasping as habituated consciousness. We also have eons of naturally arising compassion and fellow feeling. We need to cultivate, strengthen, deepen, widen the domain of self-awareness in our mind stream, so that increasingly the choices that we make about how to be in relationship are choices to be in right relationship. And not just right relationship with people we care about, but right relationship with people we can't bear. And right relationship always is about compassion and love. This is what erodes the basis of self-grasping. Care and love, compassion and love are always for the other, including oneself. And so for all sentient beings, we say, well, we are definitely one of those all sentient beings. We're part of that. But compassion and love for others and simple human caring for others doesn't even have to have a grandiose name like compassionate love. It could be simply what we call fellow feeling, or respect or tolerance even. These erode the basis for self-grasping, because when we're thinking about the other, for that moment it's as if self doesn't exist. And when self is not being grasped to out of fear and anxiety and confusion, let's call it confusion, when we're not grasping to self, we're not increasing fear and anxiety. When we're thinking of others with compassion and caring and love, we're not thinking of ourselves. And then fear subsides remarkably quickly in that moment. It may come back again, but fear is the basis of the urge to dominate. Make no mistake about that. In human beings, it's fear, the feeling of being threatened and incapable, that creates the need to dominate others. You don't have to dominate others if you are at ease within yourself. It simply doesn't arise. There's no basis for it, so it doesn't happen. And when the mind, even for a moment, is resting with care and compassion and warmth on another being or the concerns of another being, for that moment, fear for oneself and the urge to dominate and win the argument or win the day, it's not there. It's just not there. And in that moment, there's a freedom. And the more we accumulate those moments, it's like creating a mala, a rosary of good-heartedness. It melts the ice block of our mind, as Garchen Rinpoche speaks of it. He's given so many teachings where he talks about the ice block of the mind being melted by love and compassion. In the Dharma, we call that bodhicitta, enlightenment mind. Without that, no enlightenment. However much you practice on emptiness, however much you practice on this or that, without bodhicitta, without love and compassion, the ultimate awakening is not you're not at that threshold yet. So I myself sometimes comfort myself for my lack of accomplishment and prowess as a meditator by reminding myself of that, because I'm really not a great meditator by any stretch of the imagination. And I have taken very deeply to heart the teachings of this tradition, the Buddha Dharma, and specifically the teachings of our Lama Garchen Rinpoche, who really very clearly over and over and over is telling us love and compassion will melt self-grasping, will diminish self-grasping. Don't grasp for emptiness. Don't grasp for a mind without thoughts. Seek to cultivate the mind that recognizes the condition of its activity, its conditioned nature, and seek to cultivate love and compassion for all. And let all your concerns fall by the wayside. Love and compassion and respect and confidence and trust in karma, and we're good to go. That's the prescription. Love and compassion for all, especially enemies who hate us, obstructors who harm us, and those who create obstacles on our path to liberation and omniscience. In this tradition of the Buddha Dharma, the Drikwan Kagyu, that prayer always comes first. Always. We place the enemy or the perceived enemy or the ones harming us at the very front. And also in the Nyingma tradition, when you take refuge, you play in your visualization is the same. You place before you in all sentient beings take refuge with you, and you're at the end of the line, and at the head of the line are those who are your obstructors and enemies, those who cause you harm. So, in this great tradition of truth-telling, direct from Buddha all the way down, one teacher to another, to another, to another, down to us, our teacher to us, and then we to others, this gem of truth is passed down always fresh, always radiant. It's the essence, Garchen Rinpoche teaches over and over again, it's the essence of all the great religions. I myself think of it not so much as religion as I think of it as a science of mind, a science of truth, and totally non-sectarian, totally not owned by any system, just illumined by many systems, each casting its own light on truth, the nature of truth, and they all agree on love. They all agree on love. I went in the mid-90s on a mission to Africa, not a religious mission. It was a peacemaking activity. There was an interethnic civil war going on in a country in Central Africa, and I had just been in retreat for 3 months. And at the end of the retreat, I was really praying. I was really supplicating, please use me. Please show me where to be well used. And 3 days after the retreat, I got this phone call asking me to go to Central Africa to start a women's peace movement in this country that was in the midst of an interethnic, very dangerous civil war situation. I thought, well, I guess I have to go. So I went, and I had happened to read that in that country there was a tradition of a wise person, Abushingintaye, I think is how the name is said. I've sort of forgotten now because I'm not in touch with that language anymore. But a person called, and it was the language was about a male at that point, but it would be called now perhaps a person for others. In that time it was called un homme pour les autres, a man for others, a person for others, one who lives for others is free. One who lives for others is free, because no prison of the self can contain one whose life is given in compassion and love and devotion to the well-being of all. This is what we mean when we talk about bodhicitta. And this is why we say that bodhicitta, love and compassion, in its earliest stages or in any of its developmental stages up into its ultimate articulation, is what frees the mind. It's what opens the door to happiness for oneself and others. It's what dissolves the ice block of self-grasping. So when in doubt about what to do with your practice, what to do with your study, orient it this way. in whatever tradition you're in, or exploring, or perhaps deeply practiced in, always be sure that this is the heart of your intention, the heart of your practice. Every practice session should begin in this way. Every activity should begin in this way for the benefit of all beings. I do this for the benefit of all beings. I sit to meditate for the benefit of all beings. I seek out my own faults and confusions and bring them to the light so that they can be transformed and purified. And I want to say very clearly, after I blow my nose, hold on. This kind of practice that we did earlier today, and other forms of practice, there are so many, 84,000 perhaps, as we touched on earlier. Our spiritual practice and our personal practice, whether it's a very high practice in a pristine spiritual tradition, or whether it's simply trying to be kinder and more patient with your parent who has Alzheimer's, let it be motivated by limitless compassion and love, not just fixated on one or two, or those who are special to you, or those you've heard about. Always use that as the basis from which you expand your compassion and your love, your fellow feeling, to all beings. And let your practice and your study and and all activities of your personal development and your spiritual purification, let them unfold within that context, that this is for the benefit of all, so that we don't use even these noble activities to increase our self-grasping. But I want to emphasize in that context that we do have, all of us, each of us, has some difficult, essential personal work to do. And it may be work that we consider spiritual, it may be personal development, it may be healing from trauma. And if you like, we can talk some more about trauma at some point. Your own difficult, challenging, perhaps frightening, perhaps long resisted and avoided personal work with your own mind, your own emotions, your own body, your own relationships. Let's not make a false distinction between that work and the sitting quietly in a meditative posture in a cave. We do the work that we're able to do in the moment that we're called to and capable of doing it. And not everybody is at the same stage in their own personal development, their human moral development, their development as spiritual practitioners or students or disciples. We're all at different levels. We do the work that comes to us to be done, and we do it the best we can. And I want to say to you very clearly that at this time, when the context of teachings that are being given, not just by me, but by others as well, is the context of planetary purification and planetary danger, a great danger, obviously. Your personal, difficult, essential work is exactly what is needed for purifying planetary consciousness. We are the planet. We are the earth. It's not the earth and us. We are that, the same way we are the ultimate, the one. We are also the many. We are clear awareness, insubstantial, limitless, infinite, without center or circumference, without ground or substance. And we are also individual, embodied human beings. Those of us who are humans, or individual embodied dung beetles who are actually navigating by the light of the stars. We are all both ultimate and relative. We are all both absolute and conditioned. The work of planetary purification that we need to be doing and offering ourselves for that purpose, it's going to be carried out by each of us according to what we're capable of doing and what our needs are. What needs changing in my mind may not be what needs to be changed in your mind. So I need to change my mind, and you need to change yours. And that goes along with changing our behavior, including our speech, including the way we talk to ourselves. So please take very seriously this intersection of personal and planetary, this meeting place of consciousness and awareness, and the urgency. Please take seriously the urgency with which I speak today. There is, we can say when we're speaking of the absolute, we can say there is no time. Time is something that humans formulate to give us the false certainty, but certain stability that's helpful in the relative reality of continuity and a certain coherence. But in the absolute, of course, there is no time. It's timeless, timeless. At the same time, we are living in the relative, where there is time, there is sequence, there is cause and consequence. And in our frame of relative reality, living as members of the community of earth dwellers, there's no time to waste. If you see what needs doing, do it now. If you see in yourself what needs changing, humbly and confidently change it. May not change overnight, that's okay. Start moving the energy down the energy pathways towards wholeness and harmony and truth and love. Don't wait. Don't waste a minute. I'm saying that to myself very stringently as I'm saying it to you. Sometimes I excuse myself for what is just obviously laziness and self-indulgence, letting my mind run just in whatever, squirrel circle it wants to run in. It doesn't help anybody. If I want to take a break, better to just go out and look at the sky or gaze within. Call on the inward attention to give you the break you need. It will break your habit of focusing outwardly and seeing everything material as real and ignoring the truth of what is not appearing in the material reality as something that you can grasp hold of or push away. The truth cuts right through that. Thank you very much for today. And tomorrow we'll talk a little bit more and do more practice. I want us to be able to practice together so we have confidence in how we can do the inward work that fuels the outer work. Okay? I wish you a really good night. Thank you so much. We'll do a very brief dedication prayers because we're in retreat and it doesn't end till Thursday, until tomorrow. We won't do the full complement of dedication prayers tonight. We'll carry on through the retreat, through the night. And we'll end tomorrow at 4:30, I guess, 4 or 4:30. But we'll do a shorter version tonight. Having said that, I'm going to take it back, because you know why? Some people will not be here tomorrow, probably, who are here now, and I want you to have the benefit of the dedication prayers. Their great beauty and their aspirational power and their magnification of devotion and love are extremely important imprints for our minds. So we'll do, in the yellow book, if you have it, we'll start on page 11 and see where we go. Okay. So we take the opportunity at the end of practice or any of our virtuous or positive dedicated activities to dedicate the merit of having engaged in that activity. Merit is love, according to Rinpoche's teaching, which sounds mysterious in a way, but it's love. When we engage in activities for the benefit of all, our love increases. That's how we can say merit is love. We generate merit by activities that are beneficial for all, and that merit is of the nature of love. So we dedicate the merit, that love that we have cultivated and generated in our activities today, for the benefit of all. In other words, we give away our merit in order that others have that merit. So even the activity of generating merit is given for the benefit of all. So, by this merit may I attain omniscience, having defeated the enemies, my wrongdoings. May I liberate all beings who are tossed in the ocean of samsara by the waves of birth, old age, sickness, and death. Whatever virtue sentient beings possess, whatever good they've done, will do, and are doing now, whatever goodness there may be, may it permeate all beings everywhere. By the virtue accumulated throughout the 3 times by others and myself, may all beings filling the reaches of space enter the gateway of the unexcelled path, and may they attain the Vajra holder's ground. By all the virtue actually performed and mentally created by myself and all sentient beings of the 3 times, may all beings of the 6 realms attain the 5 kayas and realize the primordial wisdom of the Buddhas in the Dharmadhatu mandala of the awakened mind. Glorious root guru, precious one who sits upon a lotus at my heart, hold me with kindness and grant me all accomplishments of enlightened body, speech, and mind. I pray for the excellent health of the Guru. I pray that he lives a supremely long life. I pray that his activities spread far and wide. Grant blessings that I may not be separate from my Guru. May the Buddha's teachings, the only source of benefit and happiness, endure long, and may the victory banner of longevity for those upholding the teachings be steadfast. May the sound of the great Dharma drum liberate all sentient beings from suffering. Please remain and teach the Dharma for infinite millions of kalpas. By the might of this powerful merit, may the aspirations of the benefactors and their circles be accomplished within this very life. May their obstacles be pacified, may everything be auspicious, and may their wishes be fulfilled according to the Dharma. Just as the hero Manjushri realized things as they are, and as did Samantabhadra too, I will follow in their path and perfectly dedicate all these virtues. As all such dedications have been praised as supreme by the victorious ones of the 3 times, I fully dedicate all my roots of virtue to excellent conduct. By the blessing of the Buddhas who attained the 3 kayas, by the blessing of the truth of the unchanging nature of reality, and by the blessing of the undivided Sangha community, may my prayers be fulfilled according to this dedication. by the virtues accumulated in the 3 times by myself and all beings in samsara and nirvana, and by the intrinsic root of virtue, may I and all sentient beings quickly attain unsurpassed, perfect, complete, and precious awakening. And then this is the calling upon the lineage. Great Vajradhara, Tilopa, Naropa, Marpa, Milarepa, Dharma Lord, Gampopa, Pamadripa, and Lord Rikongpa, may the auspiciousness of all the Kagyu-lamas prevail. Glorious, holy, venerable, precious, kind, root and lineage gurus, divine assembly of Yidams, assemblies of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, heroes and heroines, Yogini and her assembly of Dakinis, all of you dwelling in the 10 directions, please heed me. By the power of this vast root of virtue, may I benefit all beings through my body, speech, and mind. May the afflictions of attachment, hatred, ignorance, pride, and jealousy not arise in my mind. May thoughts of fame, reputation, respect, honor, and concern for this life not arise for even a moment. May my mind stream be moistened by loving kindness, compassion, and bodhicitta, and may I become a spiritual master with good qualities equal to the infinity of space. May I gain the supreme attainment of Mahamudra in this very life. At the moment of death, may I not experience the suffering of being abruptly severed from this life. May I not suffer a terrible death. May I not die confused by wrong views. May I not experience an untimely death. May I die joyfully and happily in the great luminosity of the mind itself and in the crystal clarity of Dharmata. May I, in any case, gain the supreme attainment of Mahamudra at the time of death or in the bardo. And this is long life prayer for our teachers. This one is for His Holiness Tenzin Gyatso, the 14th Dalai Lama. For this realm encircled by snow-covered mountains, you are the source of all benefit and happiness. Tenzin Gyatso, Lord Chenrezig, may you remain steadfast until the end of samsara. And for the head of the Drikung lineage, one of the 2 heads, His Holiness Drikung Khyabgyun Chatsang Rinpoche, embodiment of the 3 jewels, great being who upholds and increases the teachings of the Shakya Lion. Supreme are your activities of guiding others with your perfect deeds. May you, the precious Guru who accomplishes everything spontaneously, live long. And his brother, who is also, they are the joint heads of this lineage, his brother is His Holiness Drikung Khyabgyun Chungtang Rinpoche, holder of the teachings of Lord Drikongpa, great Lord of the 3 jewels, through the power of your peerless compassion and the holy Dharma's peace and light, you bring relief to beings. May your life be long. And for His Eminence Garchen Rinpoche, the one known in the noble land as Aryadeva, emanated into the Gar clan of eastern Tibet as Chudingpa, the heart son of Jigten Gumpo. May the life of glorious Garchen remain steadfast for 100 eons. May the teachings of the great Drikongpa Ratna Shri, Master of Interdependence, omniscient Lord of Dharma, who has seen all knowable things, be upheld until the end of cyclic existence through study, practice, hearing, contemplation, and meditation. Homage to Chenrezig, Bodhisattva of compassion, Buddha of compassion. Your 1,000 arms are the 1,000 wheel-turning kings. Your 1,000 eyes are the 1,000 Buddhas of this fortunate eon. Your love is boundless like space. I supplicate to the Bodhisattva Chenrezig. Gewadi Nyodudai Chenrezig Wang Drugyurne Roa Chikyama Lipa Dei Salago Parasho. By this virtue may I swiftly accomplish, Lord Chenrezig. May I bring all beings without exception to that state. May bodhicitta, the precious and supreme mind, arise in whom it has not yet arisen. Where it has arisen, may it not decline, but ever increase, higher and higher. And then there is a prayer to be reborn in the blissful land of Amitabha. Do you remember early today I read to you His Holiness Dalai Lama had said in this time when the future of planetary existence is uncertain in terms of when and how. it is wise to make prayers to be reborn in the Pure Land. And here is a short version of that prayer for Buddha Amitabha. It is taught that one has to only say, at the time of death, one only has to say Amitabha to be reborn in the Pure Land of Amitabha. The Pure Land, we could say also, is pure mind, meaning the realm of pure mind. Emaho. In the center is the wondrous Buddha of boundless light. To his right is Chenrezig, the Lord of great compassion, and to his left is Vajrapani, the Bodhisattva of great might. They are surrounded by an inconceivable assembly of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Immeasurable peace and happiness is the Pure Land of great bliss. When I and all beings pass from this life, may we be born in that land, unhindered by another samsaric birth, and may we then behold the face of Amitabha, boundless light. May all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of the 10 directions bless this aspiration, that it may be accomplished without hindrance. Tejata pansadriya bodhinaya soha Jangchub sem chogrin poche makye panam gejuchi ge panyam pami parya gongne gondu and to Mother Earth and all beings who dwell within her embrace, to all life on earth and in all worlds and world systems throughout all of time. I sing your praises, I rejoice in you. 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 Thank you. See you tomorrow at 10.